Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsay's Little Library. So probably about a week ago, maybe a little longer, I put something out there on Instagram, and if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, link is below. Where you been? It's kind of a party over there. Well, not really, but it's fun over there. I put something on Instagram asking you guys for your assumptions about me, because I had an idea for a video with some Q&A and I didn't have a ton of stuff for questions, so I thought I would kind of complement it with some assumptions you had about me and just have a little get to know the booktuber chat, you know, and have a beer, because why not, right?
Can I be in this one?
No. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the assumptions that I got from you guys, which are super fun. And then we'll go into some of the questions that were asked kind of over time. I've had these questions come up, so I thought I would address those today. So anyways, assumptions first. One of them that kind of is persistent or is consistent in here is about being super smart. You're super smart, you're super intelligent. I wouldn't say I'm super smart or super intelligent. I don't know how to answer that one. I mean, I feel like I'm a fairly smart person, but I wouldn't use the word super. Then we have a couple about that I was super sporty in high school. I played sports in high school. I'm a super sporty person. Oh, no, no, no. So, no. I have no athletic ability. Zero at all. My husband does. He played quite a bit. Still plays quite a bit. My kids do. No, not so much. I can't throw. I couldn't shoot a basket, but that's about it. I can't hit a baseball. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. The next one we have is you don't have, they think, or the assumption is you don't have a bad temper and don't lose your control often. I wouldn't say I have a bad temper, but there's definitely times I can lose my cool. Absolutely. I have 3 kids. It's gonna happen. Totally gonna happen. Then there's the next assumptions about animals, lover of animals, that I have kittens. Well, you guys have seen my kittens. I do love animals quite a bit. I've always had animals basically my entire life. We've had some sort of animals or pets around. I wouldn't mind getting a dog. That would be fun, but we are kind of pretty busy, so we wouldn't be home a lot. So it's not really fair. So we just have cats right now. The next assumption is when I was younger, I went through a phase when I was a vegetarian or a vegan. No, never. I grew up on a dairy farm, so no. Good for you, not for me. I like my meat. So, never crossed my mind. Although I'd probably be a little healthier if it did. We've got a couple in here about your house is always clean and tidy. That I'm a fairly organized person, which is true. My house is not always clean and tidy. For example, a bunch of stuff back there. You should see behind the camera is a bit of a hot mess right now. But it doesn't go long. I'm fine with messes for a short period of time. And then we clean things up. So not always clean and tidy. I would say, I mean, it's clean and a little cluttered sometimes. We'll go with that. That works. Next assumption is you met your husband in high school, and I did, although we did not start dating until after high school. Our last names were right by each other in the alphabet, so his locker was right next to mine, or 2 down from mine or something like that. So he would consistently annoy me at the lockers and slam my door shut and stuff like that. Which apparently meant he was flirting with me. I didn't pick up on that. But and then after high school, we ended up kind of hanging out with the same group of people, and things went from there, and we have been married for 15 years now. which is kind of crazy. But yes, I did technically meet him in high school. So if we're going to talk more about high school, another assumption is that I still hang out with my best friend from high school, and that is true. Her name is also Lindsey. We talk on a daily basis, sometimes more than once a day, sometimes just multiple times. We can't go too long without chatting with each other. In fact, this whole quarantine thing has been a little trying because we don't go long without hanging out with each other, but yes, we are still very, very, very close. Let's see. There's a couple of work-related questions. So, one person assumes that I work part-time. I don't. I work full-time, but I have a very flexible schedule. So as long as I get my hours in and my work done, I can kind of work just about whatever works for us. Especially now that we're working from home. It's even more flexible, which is fantastic. The other assumption is that during my day job, I work with numbers or data or processes. Close. I work at a financial institution. It's a credit union, and I've worked at a credit union for most of my career. So yes, I do deal a lot with numbers, but my specific job is I'm a Scrum Master, which most people don't know what that means. Basically, I work with a number of teams, and I help facilitate the team dynamics, how they work together as a team, how they prioritize work, and I oversee basically all of our larger projects we're trying to get done during a year. I work with all of the teams, making sure that stuff gets done. It's kind of like a project manager, but a different way of doing work in an agile world, if that makes sense at all. But since I've been working at home, I have been kind of reprioritized at the moment because the Small Business Association, the SBA, is doing this payment protection program, and we are, of course, underwriting these loans, and so I am actually doing a whole lot of numbers and data and stuff like that right now as I help with that project. So a little bit about my day job. Another assumption is I secretly read books even while I'm at work. I do. I will put an audiobook on if I'm doing something that doesn't necessarily require all of my attention. Absolutely, I will do that at work. Totally fine. Let's see. I make lists. Yes, that is a true assumption. I make lists all of the time. Great mother. Thank you. I don't know about that one. Not sure what my kids would say, but I do my best. Pretty laid back mom. I am a pretty laid back mom. I have very specific expectations for them. When it comes to manners and how they treat people and how they treat each other is our biggest issue at the moment. But we're pretty laid back. We have just a few, like I said, expectations and rules. They have to be involved with something. I don't care what, but they have to be involved with something. They're responsible for, like, their laundry. We had a huge laundry day because the three of them haven't done their laundry in a while, and not my problem. You guys are all up for laundry. Of course, I help them when I can, but it is their job. So, let's see. Someone asked if assumed I was an A+ student. I don't think I ever got less than a B. I was not A+ though, but I did fairly well. I thought there was one more. Oh, I'm not shy and will talk with new people easily, and that totally depends on the situation. There are times where I can be super, super shy, and it depends on the setting. So if I walk into Barnes & Noble, heck yeah, I'm going to be talking to like everybody that's there. I have no problem walking up to people and being in that setting, but that's where I am in my comfort zone. So if I'm outside of my comfort zone at like an event that I know much about or understand, if I'm out of my comfort zone, I tend to be a little bit more shy and not as outgoing, but for the most part, pretty outgoing. So those were my assumptions. That was fun. Definitely need to do that more. So then we'll kind of get to the get to know me piece of this. I did an Instagram post, this was a while ago, asking for like video ideas and a bunch of different kind of Q&A type questions came up, and so I thought I would address those here. I thought that would work. So the first question is, what made you want to do BookTube? Honestly, Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand really inspired me quite a bit. I started following her right from the beginning that she started, and it kind of got me down this rabbit hole of loving hearing these suggestions from people. And these were suggestions for books that I had never heard from before, or had never heard of before. So I kind of had this eye-opening experience, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many people around that I know personally that have never heard of these fantastic books lately, and kind of started talking about it that way. And I've always been one that talks books with people, and I suggest books to people and gets on my soapbox when it comes to books. And so I just thought I would go for it and see what would happen. And I love it. Love it. Next question is, how do you read so fast, not including audiobooks? I always have a book with me. So anytime I have extra minutes, I will read a book, or read a couple pages, or pick up a chapter, whatever that might be. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. When I do have free time, make little deals with myself and be like, okay, I'll read a couple chapters and then I'll go do whatever I need to do, or I'll read for 10 minutes and I'll go do whatever I need to do. I never ever go a day without reading something, ever. So I don't know if that makes me read fast, but I definitely get through books that way. Where do you get your book recommendations? You guys, right here. It's where the majority of them come from. And then a bunch of them also come from friends, like with my book clubs and stuff like that, but most of them come right here from BookTube. What makes a 5-star for you? A 5-star for me is a book I cannot stop thinking about, or pondering, or not worrying, but wondering what would happen, or thinking about that world. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. Or a 5-star book is one that challenges my own thinking, my assumptions, helps me learn something. It doesn't have to be written perfectly. It just is, what is the impact that it has on me? What is my process for reading multiple books in a decent time, or at the same time? I have a hard time reading multiple books at the same time. If I do, they have to be in different mediums. So if I'm reading a physical book, I have to listen to the other book. Or they have to be so different that I'm not going to get confused. I have been doing some reading of very similar books lately, on purpose. And it's a little tougher. It's hard to keep them straight for myself. And I don't usually read more than 2, maybe 3 at the same time. What made me fall in love with reading? I've always loved reading. I don't know where it came from. Like, my mom's not a big reader. I think I just hit the right books at the right age when I was young enough to really have them impact me in a way that, like Bridge to Terabithia, Little House on the Prairie, like those books hit me when I was young, to the point where, okay, I want more experiences like that. So that's kind of how I fell in love with it. Where's my favorite spot to read? Anywhere I can find. Anywhere that I'm reading. I will read in my car. On my front porch is probably where I read the majority of the time when it's decent weather out. Otherwise, sit on my couch. It doesn't matter. I can't read in bed though. I will fall asleep. Guaranteed. How many actual books do you own? I have no idea. 500 maybe? That hurts to even admit. Reading pet peeves. I don't like mass market paperbacks. Book pet peeves or author pet peeves. I don't have too many, other than I'm not a fan of mass market paperbacks. Oh, one more. When you have 2 authors that have, or not 2 authors, when an author has a book and the 2 main characters have very similar names, why are you doing that? Like Leslie and Lisa. Like, no, I'm going to confuse those 2. Okay, that's all. Do you always buy or do you use your library? I am a huge proponent of the library. I actually serve on the library board of trustees here at where I live. So I'm a huge fan. In fact, ours opens up for curbside pickup. They started yesterday and I'm like already on the list and gonna go pick up some books. I still obviously buy my fair share. Book Outlet is a fave. I also will visit my free little libraries a lot. I do trades with friends. I will stop at rummage sales. I'm all over the place, but I definitely use my library. How do I balance life, multiple book clubs, and reading so fast? I don't. One of them is always going to suffer. And sometimes it's life and things are messy and kids get ignored. And sometimes it's book clubs and I show up unprepared. And sometimes it's books that don't get read when I wanted them to. I don't do a very good job. I try to do my best job, but I don't do a very good job of balancing them all. Tips or tricks for reading faster? I mean, other than always having a book with you, I'm not a proponent of skipping things unless I get to pieces. There's parts of books where it's like I'm not as interested, say, in one specific piece of it, like The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson talked about the World's Fair, and it talked about kind of America's first serial killer. I was interested in that, but the details around the World's Fair, not so much, so I would skip those pieces. But the more you read, the faster you're gonna get. It's like riding a bike, right? Favorite beverage when reading? I love my coffee in the morning. Otherwise, I love me a little brewski in the evening, especially lately. Alcohol sales are up during this whole COVID-19 FYI. Why maps? I don't know. I think it helps me visualize wherever this place is better. It helps me follow the story better. It helps me figure out as I'm going through and reading this and following along on this journey and this adventure with this character. I just have a better understanding of what's going on and where they're happening. But I can't totally explain what it is about maps. I just feel like it makes my reading experience better when I have that visualization and that map to follow along with them on their journey. I just love it. What do you do when someone suggests a book to you that they love, you read it and hate it? That's happened a few times, and I learned a phrase a long time ago, good for you, not for me, and I have latched onto that in a lot of different things because sometimes I overanalyze things and worry that I'm not doing things right, but in those cases, I'm so excited that they loved the book as much as they did. It just wasn't for me. There is one specific book that my friend Kim and we give each other a hard time because she loved it and I couldn't stand it. And so anytime she can bring it up, she does, and anytime I can tell everybody how much I hated it, we do. And it's just a fun little kidding around thing, but it's fine. And the same as if I suggest a book to somebody else and they don't like it, I would much rather have you tell me you didn't like it and I'll suggest something else rather than going off of me assuming you like that book and giving you other suggestions that are similar to it and then you end up not liking it. Totally fine. It's totally fine. I just did a buddy read with somebody with a book and she wasn't a huge fan of it and I loved the book, and that's totally fine. She made very good points. I made very good points. Not every book is for every single person, and that's cool. Just keep reading. I don't care what you read, just read, right? So I think that's about all of my questions. I think I've kept you entertained. That's enough about me for 20 minutes. That's too long. Otherwise, if you have more questions or assumptions or you want to get to know me better, of course, always comment below and we can chat. Please follow me on Instagram. We can always chat there as well. Sometimes I put things on there that I don't necessarily put on BookTube, so you might want to check it out. Links below. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.